In the darkest hour of American history, when the Civil War tore the nation in two, a love story unfolded that would defy the chaos of battle and the shadow of death itself. This is the story of Arabella Griffith and Francis Channing. Barlow, compassionate nurse, and a brilliant officer whose devotion burned brighter than the fires of war. Before the cannons roared, Francis Barlow was not a soldier. He was a quiet, intense scholar, a Harvard graduate who found more comfort in law books than in the passions of the heart. But when the nation fractured in 1861, he set aside his quiet life and enlisted as a private in the Union Army. At just 27, he wasn't fighting for glory, but for an ideal, a unified nation free from the chains of slavery. His path led him to a hospital in Washington, wounded and weary from the fight, and there he met Arabella. She was a force of nature, strong-willed, educated, and utterly fearless. While others shied away from the grim reality of war, Arabella ran toward it. She tended to the wounded, washing away the blood and grime, offering words of comfort and a flicker of hope in the suffocating darkness of pain. It was in that crowded, desperate hospital ward that their worlds collided. He was a soldier, fighting for his life. She was the nurse determined to save it. Their connection wasn't forged in grand romantic gestures, but in whispered conversations and quiet acts of kindness. Amidst the endless cycle of suffering, a deep and powerful affection bloomed, rooted in a shared purpose and the fragile, precious beauty of life. They married soon after, their ceremony as stark and solemn as the times. There was no music, no feast, just to souls, pledging their love in a world consumed by uncertainty. Their honeymoon was not a peaceful retreat, but a return to duty. Francis went back to the front lines, and Arabella remained close by, continuing her tireless work in makeshift hospitals. Their love affair lived on through letters ink-stained, sometimes trembling, but always filled with a desperate longing and an unshakable faith that one day peace would return. On the battlefield, Francis's courage was legendary. He rose through the ranks with astonishing speed, earning the title of general. He was a fierce and respected leader, fighting at Antietam and Chancellorsville. But war is relentless, and it spares no one. On the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg, he led his men straight into the heart of the storm. A bullet tore through his side, and he fell, left for dead among the fallen. News of General Barlow's death spread through the Union lines, but Arabella refused to accept it. Conviction deeper than logic told her he was still alive. Ignoring all warnings and dismissing the grim reports, she began a desperate search. She moved like a ghost through the mud and rain, past the haunting stillness of the battlefield, her heart her only compass. She scoured field hospitals, her eyes scanning every face, praying for a miracle. And then she found him. He was broken, barely breathing, lying among the Confederate wounded, but he was alive. The moment she touched his hand, his eyes flickered open. Against all odds, her relentless love had pulled him back from the brink of death. For weeks, Arabella became his sole protector. She cleaned his wounds, spoon-fed him broth, and sat by his side day and night. Her presence a silent promise that he would not face this darkness alone. It wasn't medicine or military rank that saved him, it was her unwavering strength. Together they had faced death, and together they had won. Once he recovered, Francis returned to his command, driven by duty and honor, and Arabella, ever his shadow, followed, resuming her sacred work. She comforted strangers and held the hands of dying men, seeing in each of them a reflection of the man she loved. Her compassion was boundless, because she understood the true cost of war, the fear, the loss, and the desperate flickering hope. When the war finally drew to a close in 1865, the nation began the slow, painful process of healing. Francis, carrying the physical and emotional scars of battle, dedicated himself to public service. But Arabella's own battles had taken their toll. The years of relentless work, exhaustion, and exposure to disease had weakened her. In 1864, just a year before the war's end, the woman who had saved countless lives succumbed to illness. She was only 34 years old. Francis was shattered. He never remarried, never found another who could fill the void she left behind. Her memory was a constant presence in his life, a quiet echo in the halls of his mind. He carried her love with him through the rest of his days in the silent moments of reflection, in the lingering memories of battle, and in every sunrise that she could no longer share. The story of Arabella and Francis Barlow is not carved into grand monuments. You won't find their names celebrated in the annals of great military victories. But their love endures, a powerful testament to the light that can be found even in history's darkest chapters. It was a love that marched through war, a love that healed the deepest wounds, and a love that outlived the roar of the cannons. In the end, when the guns finally fell silent, it was their love, not victory, that remained eternal. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more incredible stories from history. We'll see you next time.